What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of V2 Sports. And you can already read the title. I know I say that every episode, but I'm just hoping y'all ain't that dumb. It is the Kentucky season prediction. As you know, we are now officially, well, we got a couple more days left. Tomorrow's the last day of the first week of Team Takeover on the account. As you know, you've seen a lot of Kentucky posts. Next week it's going to be Auburn. But this is going to be the last podcast dealing with Kentucky until, we get into actually college football season. You see the schedule on the side. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So, first game, Ball State. Jackson.
It'll
I
be
think
it'll be a win.
Really?
I think everybody's going to agree. Everybody's going to agree with the win here. Do we really need to recap it? This
I think it'll be
so
closer than-
look, the first three games are literally just three games for Mark Stooks and the new O-line coach, because I'm pretty sure they fired the old line coach they had last year.
I'm pretty sure they did
I-
too.
So the first three games will just be them figuring out the offensive line,
so we
right?
just want to say 3-0 and then immediately go
Yeah.
into SEC play?
I'm down if you
Are
are.
you sure? Because last year when we started doing season prediction episodes and later in the season, Jackson apparently had like a rock hard, he was rock hard about Eastern Kentucky. You sure you don't want to be that same way this year?
No, it was Western Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
Well,
Eastern Kentucky, I think
Western
it's
Kentucky's
FCS.
actually a good football team, so I
I
kind of
think
get
Ball
what he's saying
State.
there.
I think Ball State will give Kentucky a fight, but not much of one. I think it's like just
Dude,
like,
they lost their best player in the portal.
it'll be a 31 to
Let's
17
slow your roll
game,
here.
Kentucky.
Nah, but
31-17
Let's-
Kentucky.
Okay,
The week one struggles.
let's just 3-0. Let's go ahead and hop into SEC play. Wow, that's a that's a
Rough.
stretch.
Yeah.
All right, your first SEC game is Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, I don't even know what their quarterback situation for this year is going to be. Do y'all think they're going to roll with AJ Swan?
I think it's pretty obviously they told
It-
Wright to hit the portal. It's something about like Clark Lee and Wright. I believe in Wright. I love Wright, but I don't think they believed in him.
Well, you remember what happened last year? He got benched for a couple of games because he was having like this attitude problem, so say, where he was like letting everything
I heard
really
it
get
was-
to him.
Yeah, and overall, like it's like they were waiting for him to have like a screw up. Like you know that, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as he had that one bad game versus Wake Forest, it's just kind of like, yeah, we don't want you as our starting quarter. Like it really was that situation until.
Well, I mean, like,
the break-
with Mike Wright was brought in under not Clark Lee, right?
yeah.
So that typically
He was
happens.
brought in with Clark Lee, unless last year was Clark's first year.
He wasn't brought in because he was a junior, is he not?
Hold on.
He was a freshman going into he was a freshman under the other coach. I forgot what his name is.
But like while Jason's looking this up,
He is a junior, so he came in under who is it?
I'm trying to remember
Who was the coach?
He's at DC now, and he's a great DC. I think it's like Mason. I don't know.
oh, Derek Mason, yeah, he was brought in under
Yeah,
Derek
Derek
Mason. And when you have a change of staff, the new staff usually wants to play their guys that they brought in. Because one, it's easier to sell your program to boosters when you say, hey, look, my guys have started taking over from the last coaching staff's guys, and look how much better we are. So there's other examples of stuff they do and reasons why they want their recruits to play over recruits from older regimes. So there is really a bunch of stuff working against Mike Wright last year, and that's why AJ Swan started taking that starting spot.
Okay, well, if we look past the quarterback for Vanderbilt and we look at everything that you've got going for Kentucky, I really think Vanderbilt has the actual chance to give Kentucky a legitimate fight this game. Strictly because you've got Devin Leary coming in from NC State for Kentucky, right? He's had, well, at that point, 9 months to learn the scheme. Even though you have experience... Huh?
Defending Devin Leary with the scheme, the offense that's being put in is one of the it makes things on quarterbacks' lives so easy. It's not really going to be a
It's not
hard
gonna be-
system to learn. To be fair,
It's not a hard
Either
system,
way,
but it's not like
Kentucky's-
a insanely easy.
Either way, Kentucky's taken a step down in production at quarterback. They had Will Levis. Levis wasn't good to begin with, but then you have Leary
Okay.
coming in, which I don't think he's quite at the Levis level.
offensive line will be better. The receivers are getting aged up. I don't think it's like Leary's worse than Levis, so the quarterback production is going to go down. If you look simply at the quarterback production from 2022 and not 2021, because Levis actually had a kind of productive season in 2021, but in 2022 his stats were honestly really kind of bad. But that's because
He was
no blocking.
he was injured half
the
the season as
freshman
well.
rec-
His thumb, I think.
Yeah, he injured
Yeah,
his thumb. There was no blocking. The freshman receivers have their freshman moments. And it's just now that those receivers have more experience, there's a new offensive line coach that was brought in that can actually scheme these guys up. Because if you look at Kentucky's offensive line and like their pass protection schemes and their run blocking schemes, they were awful. They were the worst in the SEC last year at designing schemes for their offensive line.
Yeah.
So no way it gets worse.
They were running a play action scheme with no blockers, basically. They're like it wasn't a insanely pro style offense, because if it was, it would have been a lot more checkdowns, which they really needed. And because like sometimes with that poor offensive line blocking, you really need like checkdown stuff like that for easy plays, and they really did those as much as they should have.
Oh.
So they just ran the ball.
Okay, so final prediction for the Vanderbilt Kentucky game. No scores. All right, scores come for the on the field episodes when we actually get to college football season. Win or loss for Kentucky? Who wins?
I would say Vanderbilt if Wright was still there, because I believe in Wright and everything. I've made this known my entire career here. I'm a Wright believer, but it's AJ Swan versus the world. Vanderbilt is winning this game. You know it. I believe in the Commodores.
Everybody, I want to let y'all know this right now. Before we started recording this episode, there was a large argument between Will and Jackson about what Kentucky's losses were, and Vanderbilt was not a single one of the teams he listed. But I see he's had
I
a
had my
change of
thought.
heart.
Yeah.
I was looking at Vanderbilt's roster.
So Jackson picking Vanderbilt here is just another reason of his another reason for proof of his hypocrisy and stupidity. Kentucky has depth at defense, depth at receiver, depth at running back. Some of it's young behind Ray Davis, but running backs are the easiest position to translate from level to level.
And they still had
High
nothing
school to
besides
college,
Chris Rodriguez
It's
last
easy for running back. College to NFL, it's the easiest to translate. Freshman running backs can work, and they're not even starting; they're depth pieces.
Okay.
So when you're depth
But you said there's depth at defense. Where?
every defense position, Mark Stoops always produces defensive depth.
Yeah,
Like,
he
you
always
can't-
has
I mean,
defensive
like,
depth,
it's not-
but he can't coach
Name
it.
the key backups. Name the key backups. Didn't you say they lose? You said earlier in the offseason, you said they lost a key defensive player in Rogers. Did you not? Something like that?
No, I said in the group chat, which is Jackson Willis. Jackson was referencing. I was talking to an Auburn fan and told this Auburn fan that they got a pretty good run stuffing defensive tackle from Kentucky in Justin Rogers. So when you look at players that have transferred out of programs, what you want to do is to see if they're really a loss. Did you transfer to a worse program than what you were at? Auburn currently is a worse program than Kentucky. Justin Rogers transferred to a worse program. That means he's not as big of a loss as people think. Justin Rogers has 0 pass rushing moves, and he was beat out by multiple other people in the defensive line. That proves depth because he wasn't going to get on the field.
Okay. Either way, what's your pick here, Will?
Oh, okay. It's Kentucky by. Vandy keeps it close in the first half. Kentucky pulls away in the second half. Wins by like 17.
All right. I've got Kentucky going 4-0 into this next game. So let's go ahead and talk about them having Florida in Lexington. This is a very
that's gonna be a
easy
win.
answer. And it's
It's
nothing,
Kentucky.
man. It's nothing against Florida
It's a
fans
win.
at all, and it's nothing against the Florida program. Okay, everybody is hyped up Graham Mertz like he's the second coming,
Next coming of God.
and he's not. Okay, if you expect him to perform against SEC defenses after we just what he came from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, and he
After we
almost got
just
benched there
watched him-
multiple times.
After we just watched him, everybody here has seen Florida State spring game. The O-line has holes like crazy. What makes you think he's going to perform any better under more pressure and definitely playing in louder stadiums? I'm giving this one straight to Kentucky. Kentucky's going to go 5-0 so far.
I think Kentucky's going to blow them out, and I think they're going to go 4-1, and people are going to look at that Georgia game. And besides the loss to Vanderbilt, I think it's going to be a close loss to Vanderbilt. But I think they're going to look at their record like, man, this is a team that could possibly give Georgia a fight.
Flip your
They're gonna
Vanderbilt.
kill.
You're going to look like
they're
an
gonna-
idiot. Flip your Vanderbilt pick before you look like an idiot. Please.
I'll think about it before.
Hey,
I'll think about it when we actually like do
this
it.
is way too early predictions. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's
he's on the
okay
spectrum.
to overreact. Hey, I think they're gonna beat Florida, and I don't think it's gonna be particularly close because I think Florida has the worst offensive line easily in the SEC this year, and you can include Vanderbilt. The losses that Florida has for that offensive line, they barely
Well,
picked
they
them
did-
up.
They brought in the
Which they-
kid from Baylor who's an All-American.
No, but
So-
he's not supposed. That from what I've heard, it's going to be till week 8 when he gets back on the field. So
Oh, that's
That's
Yeah.
bad.
a
All right.
little bit.
that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I believe it's going to be really bad.
So you got
I've heard a
Kentucky
lot
in
of
this one,
injuries with
Jackson?
him. Yeah, I got Kentucky winning like what?
Will.
Oh, I'm not going to
So-
put scores.
So
No
Kentucky's
score, no
gonna be
score.
5
Don't give me no scores. Just
Yeah.
give me win or loss.
Kentucky's going to be 5-0 going into the Georgia game, man. I mean,
All right.
who's going to expect?
Let's talk about a beautiful rematch from last year, which definitely could have went Kentucky's way last year. What about this year? In my personal opinion,
Is it going to be under 30 degrees?
with it being this early and it being
It's at Georgia.
in Athens, no.
Georgia wins by 4 touchdowns.
All right. So here's
That's a little weak.
here.
Actually,
Touchdowns.
Mark Stoops usually plays Georgia defensively very well. I'm going to give Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns, not 4.
All right. You know what?
I'm gonna say 5.
Give me the upset. Ladies and gentlemen, something you have not noticed, and that every Georgia fan is going to try to shove down your throat, is that Carson Beck is a damn good
It's
quarterback.
better than Stat.
Well, guess what he is? He's a good quarterback. But do you want to know something? Kentucky's better. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm taking no upset. Kentucky, you're getting the literal break speed off of you this game. I don't know why you would even assume. Like, you have the most cakewalk of a schedule. And everybody, if you're watching on the YouTube, I have the schedule pulled up. If you think we're lying or you can't listen, this is the easiest 5-game stretch. Now, it does not compare to this 5-game stretch at the end, but it's the easiest 5-game stretch. All right, Georgia, as much as everybody wants to say, they're going to go back to back to back, they're not, okay? Everybody get that out of your mental. Georgia took a minor
I'm predicting it, so
I am too.
Georgia took a minor step back, okay? And everybody can be like, well, Carson Beck's had time in the program. That's cool and everything. But you can't replicate chemistry. As much as you want to, you can't. You lost key pieces on the O-line, which as much as, Georgia builds their depth at O-line, it's going to take a couple of weeks for them to fill that spot correctly. And same at quarterback. Carson Beck's good. Stetson just had a leadership ability and a chemistry with most of his receivers where it's going to be some time to replace it and build that chemistry back up. You're not going to be able to see him just sling it downfield and pray that somebody catches it because they have that chemistry. Carson's going to be second-guessing himself. So with that being said, I've told everybody no
good
score
thing
predictions.
Georgia's first 7 opponents are UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, Auburn, Kentucky, Vanderbilt in the bye week.
One of those teams is going to get you. But let's go ahead and talk I told everybody let's not do scores. I want to let all the Kentucky fans know that are listening to this episode, the Kentucky players, the Georgia fans. Kentucky's losing this game by 3 points at maximum.
Oh, he's getting it tight.
3 points. Just because if Kentucky is 5-0 heading into this game, and Georgia more than likely will, unless my one upset comes true, then they're going to make this a night game. Even though the TV companies hate doing night games in Sanford, they're going to make it a night game, and they're going to overhype it, and everybody's going to be like, don't fall for the Rat Boys in Kentucky. Kentucky has no Rat Boys to fall for. They haven't played anybody good. They're not ranked. They have nothing to lose, but everything to gain if they win this game.
Yeah, they just
Kentucky's going to be playing.
Win over Florida.
Kentucky's going to play with their entire heart. And as much as I want to say, yes, they'll win, it'll be an upset, they're not quite there yet. And it's not me
So
saying...
you just think this is going to be Georgia's Missouri game from last year?
It's not even that. The reason I don't see Kentucky pulling away, along with them not being there yet, is because if you look, most of the positions that they lost in the draft and the transfer portal are being filled in by true freshmen or like redshirt freshmen. Really young people. They don't have the experience needed. The lack of experience is going to be what kills them in that game.
Well, that's what killed Missouri last year
So yeah, this will be
in the Georgia game.
This will be Georgia's Missouri, yeah. And speaking of Missouri, let's go ahead and segue into the next game, Kentucky versus Mizzou in Lexington.
All right. This is not going to go well for Missouri.
Oh, hell no. Oh, wait a minute. That's where you're wrong. This is going to go great for Missouri.
It will not be. It'll be a very good game for Missouri. They have a good. I'm not going to say good. They have an above-average offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. I'll admit that. They have good receivers. They have overall a good. If they trust in Brady Cook, if Drinkwitz can bring something out of Brady Cook, they will be a 8-4 to 9-3 type team.
Why are you forgetting this?
And they're
okay,
gonna be...
even if there's no Brady Cook, and yes, we clown on him. We're SEC fans. We're allowed to clown on people from other conferences, but he's here now. They still have Jake Garcia.
Oh yes, they got him from the transfer portal.
He's not. He was carried by. Okay, go watch his senior film. He was carried by that Grayson team. Carried.
Dude, if you play on Grayson, you're getting carried by the rest of the team no matter what you do.
He was carried by that Grayson team. Carried by the Valdosta team early in the year. Many of you don't know that. There's a Netflix documentary about it. Jake Garcia's in it.
Yeah.
You can go watch some of Jake Garcia's throws in that Netflix documentary, dude. They're not good. He's underthrowing people. Accuracy issues. I have questions about his processor.
All right. So
Hey,
Go watch it.
I think it'll be a good quarterback battle to watch throughout the not spring now. It's throughout the summer because it's been out of spring practice. We all know this. I'm just slow for a sec. It's out of spring practice. It'll be a good thing to watch during the summer. But we're forgetting about one man going into a brilliant, I'm pretty sure, sophomore year, and it's Sam Horn, who I believe in.
Oh.
If they can build around him, build around his potential, they can be pretty good. Because I watched his high school film. I thought he was a really good quarterback coming out of high school. I thought he had a chance to take the starting spot last season, but last season he couldn't. I think he has a really good chance this year if they can.
I also don't think he's good either.
I don't think he's great. I think he's. Okay.
He was throwing it up to Travis Hunter and Ethan Davis in high school.
listen, I don't know. I don't know what your deal is, Will. I don't know if you're still a little salty about last year with Mizzou, but have a heart with them. They're not a bad team.
No,
and
their
they
defense is
return
great.
a lot of production.
That safety, they have a safety who's going to go in the first round next year. I always forget his name. I think it's Charles or something, or Charlie.
Oh yeah, Joseph Charles.
Dude, that guy's going in the first round.
Pretty sure.
He's a stud.
All right, so everybody,
And then they also have, I think, a redshirt sophomore corner who's a freak.
All right.
What's his name, Jackson?
No, don't ask him. Jackson, your prediction for this game?
Yes. My bad, Jalen Carley's. My prediction for the Missouri Kentucky game, I think obviously Missouri's going to win this game, and I think it's going to be a nail biter. This will be one of a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the battle of the mid." This will be a phenomenal game to watch. Like defensively, the defensive like alcoholics are all going to be watching this game like, "Oh my
Me.
god."
I'm a defensive alcoholic.
Oh my god.
I
know. I was hinting Will. I was hinting Will. I know he loves defense, but like
I will watch a 2-0 game.
I know you would. I
will watch a 4-2. I want a 4-2 game. Give me 4-2.
I know you would. And stuff like that. Missouri has the defense to keep up with Kentucky's offense. They have the pass rushers. They built with the portal. They built a lot of key positions of need in the portal. Kentucky has too. I'll admit that, but they don't have enough depth. They don't have enough depth to win this game versus Missouri, in my opinion, because of
yes,
what they, like.
Yes, they do.
You know how last season you said Missouri won because they weren't like more experienced enough. Missouri lost to Georgia because they weren't experienced enough.
And they didn't have the depth. They had a bunch of freshmen and redshirt freshmen starting.
But as you said, it's another year. It's a new year. They've grown. It's week 7 now. What is it? Is it week 7?
They still only have the first team players.
I know, but they got depth and they're more experienced, and they have that depth more than Kentucky does. We all know it. They are going to beat Kentucky.
I don't know it.
Oh wait, I'm not going to put on a score. My bad. They're going to win by 3 points. In overtime.
I actually like Jackson's overtime take, so I'm going to also go with the overtime. Kentucky's coming off a tough road game. They start off slow against the Tigers, but they force overtime and win the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, overtime's a great idea, but it's not going to happen in this game, strictly based upon the fact that Kentucky is still, replacing DBs isn't hard, but it's not something that's going to be easy. They just lost Valentine, all right? Mizzou has receivers out the wazoo. Yes, they just lost, Lovett in the portal.
2 good receivers,
They replaced him with a pretty solid receiver as well. I mean,
did they get
when
Weiss?
You replace a guy that good, yeah, Theo Weiss, and I think he's a really good player. He's a really underrated.
Well, they downgraded from the best wide receiver in the SEC to a mid wide receiver.
It's not hard to when another team's tampering with money. You kind of have to replace.
I mean, I'm not.
Hey, I don't think Lovett's the best receiver.
I'm just saying they downgraded from the best wide receiver to an average wide receiver.
It's not like they had a choice either. But my prediction for
why are you coming at me, man?
I admit Lovett's good, but I don't think he's a wide receiver. I don't think he's the best wide receiver in the SEC.
He's not top 3.
There's Neighbors, Wells, and you can name a lot of others.
Damn.
Last year, Missouri dominated.
Hey, and honestly, we're talking about Kentucky in this. I believe wholeheartedly in the breakout of Berrien Brown. I am in love with that guy and Dane Key at receiver. Berrien Brown, his speed, his route running, if they can just produce him to his maximum potential, he can be a wide receiver 1 in this conference. That is something I believe wholeheartedly about Kentucky. They have
and that exact reason is why Kentucky will win this football game.
No. Mizzou's got this one on locks by 2 scores. Let's go ahead and go into the next game. It's another home game for Kentucky versus Tennessee.
Versus their daddy, you mean?
Mark Stoops' father.
Tennessee owns Mark Stoops.
Yeah, that's why I got
You would think this was the 1800s with how bad this is for Kentucky.
This is going to be a rough game to watch. And I know it's not – it's going to be worse than the Georgia game. And I know it's at home, but this is like a second nature to Tennessee. This is like a second home. Home away from
Tennessee
home.
wins the blowout. Let's move on to Mississippi State, man.
No, it's not even going to be a blowout, y'all.
Be realists. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What's going to be close about it?
Tell me exactly. Look me in my eyes and tell me what aspect of Tennessee's offense is just going to go brazy during this game.
The quarterback, the wide receivers, the offensive line, the running backs, and the tight ends.
All right, so I want you to slowly read that out to me again and let me explain to you where you're wrong. So you said quarterback. First. That's Joe Milton, brother. He's going to overthrow it and hit a Kentucky fan and get suspended for a game. All right. 2.
Incorrect. All right, let's move on. Running backs.
Running back. Okay. That's exactly
We're
how
going
Tennessee.
position by position.
Okay, hold on. This one, he's not wrong. That's exactly how Tennessee won the game against Kentucky last year, was just running the ball. But to run the
They have no
ball,
rushing defense.
you have to have a good O-line. Well, boy, you're in for a
Tennessee
surprise.
still has an interior offensive line, dude.
And they still have a fast-paced offense.
Yeah, a fast-paced offense.
All right,
is great.
Jackson. You don't have to
Hey,
say
brilliant.
things 10
They
million
have a-
miles an hour.
Okay, my bad. They have a brilliant offensive scheme. When it comes to versus SEC defenses, it's dominated for the past 2 years. We know it.
Not
They
against
dominated
Georgia.
Kentucky the past 2 years. The run has killed Kentucky. They have not been able to stop Tennessee's
Kentucky's
run.
problem in this game is
In the
they don't
past
have
2
enough DBs to be able to stop. Because
They don't have
how you stop Tennessee's
Stop the
offense
run.
is you put 6 DBs on the field and stop the run with 5 in the box guys.
Hey,
Kentucky's not able to do that.
hey, y'all are forgetting something. Tennessee's
You
defense
outscore them.
is nothing but freshmen at this point.
Well,
There are
And
besides,
guess-
everybody's
guess what?
favorite.
That hasn't
Besides-
stopped Kentucky's offense from imploding against Tennessee before.
Okay. never
Don't
mind,
forget,
you got a point.
they went up against the best corner in the SEC.
When's the
I forgot
last
his
time
name.
Kentucky beat
What-
Tennessee?
Tennessee.
2021. No, 2020.
Wait,
2020.
Are you sure?
Jared
sure about that?
Garantano threw 3 picks on 3 back-to-back drives
I
on the
know.
first play of those consecutive drives. Yeah.
didn't he throw like 2 pick sixes in a row
Yes.
in that game?
All right, other than 2020, which is a
2019.
COVID year, it should even count anyway.
Guys,
2019.
we're forgetting about Kamal Haddon, the best corner in the SEC.
All right, Jackson, leave the podcast.
No, no. I don't know how you don't get like torched by that. I don't know how you don't torch him with Barry and Brown and all them. But I don't see Tennessee losing this game at all.
In over 100 matchups, Tennessee has lost this game 26 times. Next year will not be different.
Tennessee's gonna win this.
Not if Kamal
This-
Haddon has anything to say about it.
This century, Tennessee has lost 3 times to Kentucky.
Good shit, Jeremy Pruitt.
The COVID year, 2017 and 2011.
Damn.
Before 2011, it was 1984.
Damn. All right. Obviously, this is a Tennessee win. I'm just fucking with everybody. Let's go into Mississippi State. In Stark Vegas.
I
We
know,
believe in Mike,
I know.
but Mike's not going to be starting. Got to deal with one more season of Precious Will.
Home is just
It's hard.
a different
It's
animal.
hard. I know.
It's
That's why
Mississippi
that's why
State
you
at home, unless they're playing a team with elite roster talent, is going to win every game.
I
So let's
agree.
just Kentucky loses 2 in a row.
You can't bet against the Cowbells, man. Unless it's like versus Bama, obviously. But you can't bet it in like a neutral game at home. That's why I got I could see this game also going overtime like Missouri, but I don't think it will. I could see it, but I don't think it will. It's gonna be like a 10-point game in Mississippi State's favor. It's gonna be close, but Mississippi State barely takes the field goal to like extend the game.
Oh,
and then Kentucky just
100%
can't
I'm
battle back
going
from
with
it.
Mississippi State on this game. There's no
Yeah,
ifs, ands, or
Mississippi
buts
State
about
by
it.
10.
And it's not the fact, it's another thing where you're going to have to hear this from me for the rest of this episode. Besides a couple of these games left on your schedule, you're just not there yet. You have the talent, you have the coaching, you just don't have the experience. This is going to be one of those games. Now, do we even want to cover the next game?
Bama, no, it's a clean sweep. Actually,
No, don't actually.
No,
Okay.
no, just keep the mouth closed.
hear me out. They can keep this game close
For the first quarter.
if Alabama doesn't figure out quarterback.
Dude, Alabama's not going to have the quarterback situation figured out at all. But here's the thing: they have the
Tyler
run
Buckner
game
is throwing for 450.
and 4 interceptions while doing that. But
All right.
they have a running
So-
game figured out, which is what Kentucky's defense is still.
So at most they what? Score 24 points.
Who, Kentucky or Bama?
If Kentucky can score more than 24 points on Alabama next year, they will win. But I don't think they will.
I'm giving this one to Bama, just not because of the lack of talent, but because Bama's going to literally make this a hard-nosed football game and run 88% of the time. Plain and simple.
Here's my problem with
Who wouldn't
Alabama's
run on
quarterback
that
situation.
garbage defensive line?
When Tommy Reese was at Notre Dame, he spent 6 weeks recruiting Tommy Buckner's replacement. And as soon as spring practice ended at Alabama, he told Nick Saban, we have to go get this guy.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. Don't say weird.
It's
That's
weird.
the
It's
type
bad.
of stuff that just screws me over. Wait, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like
Balls.
just thinking about it. That's the type of like thoughts that like screw like mess with my mind because
As if we
Alabama's
didn't get it the
gonna
first time. He
kill
was going
this
to say
game.
it the same. All right, everybody agrees.
Alabama's gonna kill
Bama's
Kentucky.
taking this one. Let's go into South Carolina.
hey, if it was at Kentucky, I'd see more of a closer game. It's at South Carolina. I'm gonna say the same thing I said about Mississippi State. South Carolina by 10.
All right.
It's going to be a back and forth game, but South Carolina's going to eventually take the edge, you know? So, like, it's going to be like a 34-24 game. Oh, why'd I give a score? My bad. I'm sorry.
Hear me out.
It's going to be like that Kentucky game last year.
Hear me out. Kentucky wins this
Except
one.
in South Carolina's favor.
Kentucky wins this. And everybody,
Convince me, Jason, and I might pick with you.
you actually want to know because it's all based on a hypothetical. Are you ready? All right. There's
Just
one
convince
SEC
me.
team that is going to have a Tennessee-like 2023 season, and it's going to be South Carolina. They're going to get an upset victory at somewhere within their first 10 games. All right, a big one that they haven't had in a while. And if you haven't called it by my context clues so far, it's going to be Georgia. All right, they're going to be crazy. They're going to be doing
You've already lost me.
Hold on. So then it comes down to the final 2 weeks of the season. Kind of a lock at this point for like at least a New Year's Six Bowl. All right, they go into this game and they just shit the bed because they overlook their opponent. I feel like Kentucky will have enough experience at this point in the season to where it's going to be who makes a mistake first, and more than likely it's going to be Spencer Rattler, and as soon as he makes that mistake, Kentucky is running away with it. And this is nothing against
I just
South
got to ask
Carolina.
one thing.
Yes.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kentucky off of a, 3? For me, it's 4. For you
us,
guys, it's a
4
3-game
for
losing
us,
streak.
It's a 4-game losing streak.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. My bad. Oh, wait, no. It'd be 5 because they played Georgia. So it'd be a 5-game losing streak going into at South
I do
Carolina.
not think
Also about
Kentucky's
me-
losing to Missouri.
Oh, yeah, I know. It depends. It could potentially be a 5-game losing streak going into South Carolina, or you lose 4 of the last 5.
All right.
That's why I don't see it
What's
happening
the question?
because they don't have. The team has given up. The team has given up at this point versus a New Year's Six South Carolina team.
Not with Mark
In your
Stoops.
eyes, in
Mark
your eyes.
Stoops will not let his team
Jackson.
give up.
Jackson, look at me dead in my eyes. Okay? If we want to talk about a team that should have gave up last year, it was South Carolina. They got mollywopped by Florida, and then
made
the
a
next
bowl.
week, hold on, they got mollywopped by Florida, turned around next week, and beat the brakes off of Tennessee. What's saying Kentucky's not going to do the exact same shit?
Because at the time last season, before the Florida game, South Carolina was already bowl eligible. Kentucky wouldn't, in this scenario, Kentucky wouldn't have reached bowl eligibility yet. So they're
Are
struggling
you on
to find bowl
crack?
themselves.
Are you on crack?
No, I mean-
1, 2, 3,
I
4,
mean to go-
5. Oh,
Yeah.
you have them losing to Missouri. You are on crack. I've confirmed you're on crack.
In my opinion, yeah. You have
y'all
that.
know I give
They're
an
fighting for a
upset pick.
bowl.
Y'all know I give an upset pick. Yeah, exactly.
know.
They're fighting for a bowl. It's gonna be South
Versus a team
Carolina.
that's fighting for, in your opinion, in your opinion,
Da, da, da.
versus a team who's fighting for a national contention. Not in my opinion. I'm saying in your
Just a
opinion,
New Year's
for
Six
this
bowl. Just a
hypothetical.
New Year's Six bowl, y'all. South Carolina ain't gonna be
But
that
what would
damn
their
good.
record be if they beat Georgia? What would their record be in going in this game if they beat Georgia?
Who, South Carolina?
Who are they going to lose to if they beat Georgia?
Who are they gonna lose to? if they beat-
Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas A&M.
They're not going to lose.
Let's
to
see.
Texas A&M.
I can click on South Carolina's schedule right now. FBS schedules, great website. They could lose. At this point, they could have lost to Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Missouri. There's four potential losses.
If they beat Georgia, they are 9-3 heading it. No, they don't play
No,
Tennessee.
they are.
This is-
They're
They don't
7-3
play
headed
They're
into this
7-3
game
headed into
if they
this
beat
game.
Georgia.
If they beat Georgia,
If
All
they
right?
beat Georgia, they're not going to lose to a team like Texas A&M. They are going to blow out Texas A&M if they beat
It's
Georgia.
not at
Jackson,
home. The
They-
whole
Jackson,
reason
That's not
South
gonna
Car-
be
the
you
whole
beat
reason
Georgia in 2019 with 4 losses or with 4 wins. My bad.
Because that
So-
was with Will Muschamp.
All right, listen, Jackson. It's very simple. Upsets happen all the time, no matter what you've got. And here's what I'm saying: the only reason
If you're going to
South
beat the
Carolina
reigning
won-
back-to-back national champions, you aren't going to lose a game. And maybe to
Jackson,
Tennessee.
did-
Maybe to Tennessee.
Do
but
you
nobody
know how
else.
college football works? Do you know how college
No.
football works?
I know how college football works.
No, he
but
doesn't.
if you beat Georgia, the best team in the SEC we've seen in decades probably, the last 2 seasons in the SEC have been great, phenomenal.
Missouri lost to this team by 2 points. So are you saying if Mizzou would have beat Georgia last year, Mizzou wouldn't have lost the remainder of their schedule?
I'm saying it would have brought more hype to it. I'm not saying they would have. I'm saying if you beat Georgia early on, who's stopping you?
Yourself. And that's what's going to happen.
And how would that be? You have the hype. You have the momentum
You
of the
also
entire
have
fan
the
base,
rat
the
poison.
program. You're going to have... But you have everything on your side if you beat Georgia early on.
Very simple, Jackson. You do exactly what you do at the end of this past season. You go on a little hot streak. You continue this hot streak until about week 4 of this upcoming season if you're South Carolina, and then it just goes downhill. So then
You play Mississippi State at home week 4.
Jackson, your players could also get a little too cocky. Get it?
Ha ha ha.
But no, give me Kentucky in the South Carolina game.
If I had like...
You know what? Just because of Jackson's earlier comments, I can't pick with him on this game. So I'm going to switch my pick to Kentucky. Not for Jason's reasons either.
It's just...
If I had to come up with reasons for Kentucky to win this game, it's because they're better on the edges on the line of scrimmage by a lot. Actually, that's a pretty good reason why they'll win the game. They're better at tackle than South Carolina, and they're better at edge rusher than South Carolina.
Right.
Kentucky's edge rushers are better than South Carolina's tackles, and Kentucky's
go.
tackles are better than
All right,
South Carolina's
everybody,
edge rushers.
quick.
Not true.
Quick prediction of the
I'd
Louisville
argue
game.
South Carolina has better tackles.
Damn, you don't
by
listen,
far.
do you, thick neck boy? All right. Quick prediction for the Louisville game. Don't give me no reasoning. We've given enough for reasoning. Who y'all got?
Loss. I have them going 5.
Kentucky in a win.
Kentucky win.
I have an upset. Kentucky's won. It's Louisville. Like Kentucky's had Louisville's number like these past few years. I know they have. Every year they just kill them. And I think at Louisville, I know they don't have Malik Cunningham. I know they don't, but they're gonna win this game. Book it. This is one of the Jason.
Jack
We all-
Plummer's not
You know
beating
how,
an SEC
you know how
defense.
Jason said like LSU was gonna beat Bama out of the pureness of randomness. He said LSU's gonna beat Bama, and he was right. This is a take I feel like is gonna be right. Like I just have a feeling about it, you know, like it's just a gut feeling. I just have a feeling.
He said no reasoning, dummy. We have to end this episode.
yeah, and just for that, Jackson, sign off time.
Sign off. Yeah. Oh, you said no reason. Oh, dang it. I gave a reasoning. Okay. Time to go look at... I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this phone working because I need to check all those sponsors and make sure I say them correctly.
Remember.
My bad. Yes. Horrible memory. Okay. We got it. Okay, guys. Get 20% off your first purchase with Home Field Apparel if you click the link in our bio. With your W referral link, you could use our code V2 Sports, no spaces, capital V, capital S, and you get 10% off your first purchase. And with SeatGeek, you get $20 off your first order if you use the same code, capital V, capital S, no spaces, V2 Sports. And overall, you have to make you have to make a new account for the first order, and then check out our YouTube, check out our Instagram, give us love, and we'll give the same love. We love y'all. We love what y'all do here, and you're the best. The fans, we love y'all. We love everything you do. You make us who we are. Love you. And
Yeah, no, I'm gonna
good
go ahead and
morning,
cut him off before he
good
tries to. No,
afternoon,
shut
and
up.
good
Shut
night
up. Okay,
from the V2 crew.
Listen, everything he said was true, but make sure you check out the website. The guys are putting a lot of effort on these articles. And if you don't agree with any of our takes with the schedule that's over here to the right of me, make sure you comment on the YouTube video, or hell, you probably listened on Spotify. Come comment on the Instagram post. It's going to be that post. I mean, it's not going to be that hard to miss. And let us know where we went wrong. Call out Jackson. Call out me. Call out Will. We don't care. Just do it. So, like Jackson said, we couldn't do any of this without y'all's support. So, thank y'all. We hope y'all enjoyed the first week of SEC Team Takeover. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, and good night from the V2 crew. Peace.